Hey guys, this is Marc Goldberg from Marc Vlogs. What's my name again? I'm gonna start over. God. Hey guys, this is Marc Goldberg from Marc Vlogs Watches, and today I am going to answer a very intensive, very long letter from a subscriber named Calvin. So I'm afraid that you guys are going to have to bear with me. But Calvin did something that I don't solicit or talk about a whole lot, and Calvin sent me a PayPal donation. And you don't have to do that in order to write to me, but if you do it, it's appreciated because it prevents me from going full time on YouTube. And believe me, you don't want that. So Calvin's got a lot of questions about Rolex and about Seiko. So I'm gonna read you the letter. It's gonna be here a while, guys. So bear with me while I go through this. Fortunately, Calvin gave a fairly sizable donation, actually, because this is a hell of a long letter with a lot of questions. But I think you guys will find it illustrative, interesting, and I think it will apply to many of us who collect watches and have some fondness for Rolex and Seiko. Okay. Hey Mark, I have watched a lot of your YouTube videos and recently subscribed. Looking to buy my first Rolex, and I would like to get your thoughts on some Rolex watches. I'm torn between choosing among these watches. And if I know you guys in the peanut gallery, you are opinionated, you know your Rolex, and you will be helping me by leaving comments for Calvin and try and be nice, in the comments section. Okay, torn between choosing. I'm a newbie. I have my fair share of purchasing mistakes already under my belt. I'm hoping you can pass on some wisdom if you went through a similar phase of collecting. And collecting is a personal journey for all of us, and we all make mistakes. We are here to help you prevent those mistakes from being terribly costly and expensive. Okay, here's some background on the current state of my collection. I own the following watches. Seiko Paddy. Seiko Paddy Diver, I have one of those. A Seiko 7002-700J on a Greenado clunky watch, but I like wearing it when I'm doing activities that could bang up a watch. Number 3, Seiko Ninja Turtle, same as the Paddy, probably just a different dial. Number 4, Seiko Cocktail Time, Sarb 065, paired with a Hirsch Alligator. Boy, that's like putting lipstick on a pig, because like a Hirsch Alligator is a nice strap, and you put it on a Seiko, which we're going to talk about this. Okay, so now we're going to move into something that isn't garbage, which is what I just said is going to cause me a lot of grief in the comments because there are a lot of Seiko lovers here. Guys, sorry, I own two, a Paddy and a Blue Lagoon. So I'm kind of with you. Okay, number 5, what does he have? The Omega Seamaster, the Omega Speedmaster reduced. Okay, so that's good, on a black Omega strap. He bought that one for $1,600 in 2008. So that was a really nice deal. Good for you. Keep it. It is objectively nothing special, but it was my first expensive watch. It's not that it's special, but Calvin, it's your only decent watch. So it's a little special in this giant collection of meh. The collection of meh. Keep that one. You got a great deal on it. You should keep it. Okay, I would welcome your candid assessment of my current collection. Okay, let me be kind about this so you don't stop payment on the check. Oh wait, you paid by PayPal. You can't. I'm still be nice. Calvin. Let me explain something to you. Seiko, and I suffer from the same problem because you can buy a Seiko for $300, $500, $1,500. Seiko goes up and down the line up until you get into the thousands of dollars for Grand Seiko, which is a whole different can of worms, guys. We're not going to talk about Grand Seiko in this video, but the level of Seiko watches that Calvin is buying, it's kind of like a fungus, Once you get one, it's just like more of it is likely to appear. It's a little like herpes, okay? So what I feel like is there are certain watch brands where it's fine to have one. And Seiko is one of those. Maybe you could get crazy like me and have two. But Calvin, you have just loaded up on carbs, on filler. That's like going to a seafood buffet and before they bring you as many lobsters as you can eat, you've filled up on the mashed potatoes, the bread rolls, the rice pudding, what other garbage are they going to give you? The fried bananas, the cheese-filled rolls. I mean, you have just loaded up on the stuff, before you get to the good stuff. So the good news is, here's the good news. Most of that Seiko meh is reasonably collectible because there's a lot of people out there not listening to this channel, and and they don't know, or they have a fondness for this watch. So put the whole load of them up on eBay. Keep one, pick your favorite one. Okay, shifting gears. This is what I have my eyes on. The Rolex Explorer Polar Dial. And you haven't told me, you did send me a link, so I'm gonna have a quick look at it because you failed to tell me if it's the 42 millimeter. It is not, it's the old one, the 40 millimeter. Okay, so you have your eye on the Rolex Explorer 40 millimeter, and you're asking me if you should spend $7,000 box and papers for that watch? No. You know what? I'm really glad that you paid for this review because you need the help. I really hope you didn't do anything, before getting a hold of me. $7,000? No. No, not just no. Hell to the no. Hell to the squared cubed power of no. No, absolutely not. First of all, if it's a really, really nice one, if you really take some effort here, you'll find one, an orphan, we call that one, no box and papers. You'll find one in really nice condition for $4,900 to $5,200. And if it's a box and papers and you really focus and concentrate, you'll find it for $5,000 to $5,500. $7,000 is a gross, ridiculous overpayment, so don't do that. But it's a cool watch if you like smallish watches. I have the 42 millimeter version of that, and I like it better. I had the one you're looking at, I flipped it. It feels too tinny for me. It's got hollow center links and a kind of a cruddy clasp. It doesn't have the modern Rolex clasp and the modern Rolex oyster bracelet. So it's kind of thin, tinny, and yeah. So I think you should evaluate your priorities here, and maybe you should be thinking about the newer one. And here's the good news. If you were to get the 42 millimeter version of that, box papers, you can do that for $7,000. You could do it for a little bit less. So that's what you should be doing. Okay, so enough said. Well, actually, let me recap. If you buy the 40 millimeter, you should be paying somewhere between $4,800 and $5,500, depending on if it's box and papers or no. And if you get the 42 millimeter one, which it's a much better watch, guys. That's a much better watch. I got mine for $6,200, no box and papers, but add in a few $100 and you can get that too. So okay, sorry, I'm beating this horse till it's dead. Okay, the second thing he's interested in is a Rolex Sub 2 line. I actually have one of those. You like the old stuff, apparently. I'm not crazy about the old stuff. I have one of those. It's a nice watch. You like the Swiss-only dial, but it doesn't have box and papers. Well, you're looking at a watch. It's like 15 years old, so I wouldn't get hung up on box and papers. It's nice if you can get the box and papers, but that is not the be-all and end-all. If you buy a used watch and it doesn't come with box and papers, just authenticate it. Get it authenticated at a dealer. So is that a nice watch? Let's just say that one has a following, and they're starting to pop up in price. But I bought mine for like $5,000 a couple years ago. I wouldn't want to see you spend a whole lot more than $6,000. Okay, the Rolex Sub 2 line Tritium. Well, you like the idea of the aging Tritium lume. I get that. Those are all over the board. When you get into vintage Rolex, let alone vintage watches as a whole, you have opened a can of worms. There are so many redials, there are service dials, there are Franken watches, which is watches where parts have been replaced, sometimes with like factory parts, sometimes not. So if you're going to be buying Tritium Submariners, you could be spending $15,000 on something like that, and I would want you to have an expert literally review all of your potential purchases, because guys like you get taken to the cleaners, double-fisted if you're not careful. Okay, so with that one, be very careful. The next one, the Rolex Sub 4 line. I don't know what you mean there. Oh, the 1406. Let's have a look. That's another vintage watch. Well, your link is not providing anything for me there, but that is another vintage piece that is also a pre-ceramic Rolex. If you are buying a pre-ceramic Rolex that has Superluminova, you're fairly safe. But if you start paying big money for the vintage stuff with Tritium and you're paying for patina, you need an expert, because you are a rube and you are going to get slaughtered. So contract some help. Or take me with you, fly me and I'll go with you. Okay, the The next few watches, while I can still afford them, I will feel them in my current budget, meaning it'll be painful. Okay. Sea Dweller 40 millimeter 116600. Was that really a 40 millimeter? Oh yeah, that is the Sea Dweller 4000 and now discontinued. I have nothing bad to say about that watch, except for, quite frankly, I forgot the quick fist watch. Check, so we're doing it now. But here's a modern sub. I paid $8,500 for this, and it was box and papers. Honestly, I'd rather see it with this than pay the giant premium for that Sea Dweller 4000. And the reason is that you are not a sophisticated Rolex buyer, and I think you should probably start with the classic, iconic stuff before you get into the weird and quirky examples. And that one that you referenced, although it's a wonderful watch, I think it's a quirky example because it was only in production a few years. I think your chances of getting a ceramic Sea Dweller in the $8,000-9,000 range with papers, you'd be better off there. Okay. The Submariner 5513, creamy dial and hands. Again, this is vintagey stuff. Honestly, you should start with something a little bit more mainstream. Or you need somebody to babysit you while you make these purchases because you're going to get creamed. All the links that you sent me, Calvin, are to websites that I am not going to name, but they are to dealers that are well known for having the highest prices in the industry. And then your last thought is about the GMT Master 2 Batman. I have one. This is going to kill you when I tell you what I paid for it. $7,800 complete set. And you're asking if $15,000 is too much for a Batman. Yes, yes. Honestly, I think you should probably be able to buy one for, to be honest, if you really, beat the bushes, you'll find one for 12 or 13. But I think you're too much of a beginner to get into the quirk right now, to get into the quirky, the weird, the discontinued. Go for something a little bit. What you should be buying is this. The ceramic sub and the 42 millimeter Explorer 2, and get rid of all those Seikos. Okay, well actually, I think that's pretty much what I have to say. Oh look, it's sexy, it's beautiful. Not me, clearly not me. I'm talking about the watch. So guys, I know that you are reading that, vintage Rolex is the new Bitcoin, steel sports shortage, the bubble. I mean, there's so many buzzwords and stuff flying around out there. But what I want to tell you is that vintage Rolex offers opportunities, but it offers opportunities for people who are extremely knowledgeable. And Calvin, that's not you. So you either need to hire a consultant, and I'm not pushing for the job, far from it. I don't want it, to be frank. But you would be way better off going for value in current production or recently discontinued. So I approve of your Polar Explorer in 40 millimeter concept. I just don't approve of your $7,000 price, so go back to the drawing board on that one. And I approve of a pre-ceramic 14060M. I approve of that because it's not so old that people are falsifying the dials, typically, not really. And I approve of a ceramic sub for you. So, or the 42 millimeter Polar Explorer. You can get that one box and papers for $7. I'm sure you might even beat that by a little bit. That is a stinking bargain right now. Okay, so the Seikos, get rid of, pick your favorite one and then get rid of all of the rest of them. Guys, what do you think? Was my advice on target? This is like a sand trap in golf. This is like quicksand. If you're not careful, you're gonna need Tarzan to swoop in and pull you out of the quicksand because there are so many fraudulent watches out there in that real vintagey stuff. So I think you have to be very careful, and I don't think you are knowledgeable enough. You're a newbie, and so start with the precious icons in this range. Those alone are hard enough to get, but believe me, when you look at them, super satisfying. This is Goldberg. Tell me what you think in the comments. Peace out.
Paint the sky.